this weekend. It's the Super Bowl, Chiefs versus Buccaneers. It should be a great game. So James is going to lead us in our little preview and debate of who's going to win this one. So James, take it away.
All right, guys. Like Tyler said, Super Bowl. Very excited. It's a Hall of Famer versus possibly a future Hall of Famer. We'll see how this goes. Let's start with the offense, though. Let's start with the Chiefs. The Chiefs averaged 438.5 yards per game, and that includes a quarter and a little bit without Patrick Mahomes. And that's pretty crazy considering the backup, I don't even know what his name is, isn't that good. Mahomes, though, looks pretty healthy. Against the Bills, he had 3 touchdowns. His concussion didn't look like it was bothering him. It didn't look like he had a headache. And also his turf toe wasn't a big deal. He still waddled the same amount that he normally waddled. So that's that. The thing for the Chiefs, though, is that the running back room hasn't been fully healthy this entire postseason. Now they are. That extra week is doing them wonders. They now have Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell back, and that's running back 1 and running back 2. Darrell Williams has been great in the absence of these two, but now it's time for him to step aside and let these guys do their thing. The Chiefs' offense is among the best when it comes to postseason passing yards per game with 320. Tyreek Hill is number 2 in the postseason in terms of receiving yards per game with 141 per game. And tight end Travis Kelce is number 4 with 113.5. The crazy thing about this is that the Chiefs have only played 2 games, while other teams have played 3 games. But Travis Kelce leads all players with 3 receiving touchdowns. The biggest concern for the Chiefs offense, left tackle Eric Fisher tore his Achilles against the Bills. Huge loss. He's been on that line forever. He was a former number 1 overall pick. And the O-line has to really step up to make sure that this overly aggressive defensive line of the Bucs doesn't get there, because that defensive line for the Bucs is good. And so who's going to step up? And today it's found out that backup center Daniel Kilgore is also going to be out with COVID.
Damn.
So this offensive line has been scrambling all season long. Who's going to step up? On the Buccaneers side, the Buccaneers offense ranks number 2 among playoff teams, averaging 30.7 points per game. The thing about this that I hear a lot is people always say, don't bet against playoff Tom. But to be honest, Tom hasn't really showed me all that much this postseason. Cool, he beat the Washington team, right? But then he wouldn't have really won against the Saints unless Drew Brees made mistakes. And he played pretty well against the Packers, but he also threw 3 picks. You can't do that against the Chiefs. The Chiefs will capitalize. Aaron Rodgers didn't, but the Chiefs will. Other than that, though, he's averaging 286.7 yards per game, and he has 7 touchdown passes in the postseason. The running back combination of Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones is fantastic. It's like fire and ice. One's a power back, one's an elusive back. So the power back will come in and just hurt you, and then the elusive back will just run around you. Great combo right there. Wide receiving room for the Buccaneers, that's a good wide receiver room if they can fix the problems. Evans is currently hurt right now. He's going to play, but he's been managing a knee injury since the last game of the season. Chris Godwin has this major dropping problem, so you got to fix the yips on that one because, dude, stop dropping passes. And Antonio Brown, he's questionable to play with a knee injury. The biggest surprise for the Buccaneers team, though, is their tight end room. Gronk is the bigger name and garners way more attention, but Cameron Brate's been killing it. The dude has 49.7 yards per game. On the defensive side, the Chiefs currently allow 335 yards per game through 2 postseason games. But this group also has 5 sacks for 61 yards and 2 interceptions for 47 yards. Like I mentioned before, the Chiefs defense makes a lot of clutch plays. They kind of don't show up for the majority of the game, but when it matters the most, that's when they do. They're led by safety Tyrann Mathieu, aka the Honey Badger, and he's all over the field. You can see him he runs and he sacks the quarterback. For a safety, that's kind of unheard of, so that's really cool to see. And Chris Jones, everybody knows him. He's a perennial Pro Bowler, probably one of the best defensive linemen of the game right now. He's a game wrecker on the line. So a lot of offensive linemen pay attention to him, but that gives way to Frank Clark coming in off the edge to get sacks. Overall, this D-line is good, but not great. On the Bucs side, the run defense is elite. And there's no question about that. They've been elite throughout the season, and the postseason, they're doing the same exact thing. They allow 85.7 rush yards per game, which is the lowest. Their strength is their defensive line. Defensive end Shaquille Barrett led league in sacks last season. He has 3 so far in playoffs, but he also has 7 hurries. And Jason Pierre-Paul, do you guys remember him? He's known for his face mask and blowing off half of his hand, but he has 2 sacks and 7 hurries as well. I personally think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the best linebacking duo in the league in Devin White and Levante David. Devin White leads the team in tackles with 26, but he's only played in 2 games. and Levante David is second in the team with tackles with 20. The biggest thing that the Buccaneers need to do is have their secondary step up. You're playing against Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. You guys need to do your best. Sean Murphy-Bunting, though, the cornerback, he has 3 interceptions. That's huge. And safety Jordan Whitehead has played really well this entire postseason. And safety Antoine Winfield is questionable with an ankle injury. He's been a prodigy. He's only a rookie, but he's done so well, and he's very important because he makes big plays. So, Eric, why do you think the Bucs are going to win?
First off, the dude who has COVID that can't play in the Super Bowl, like I would just say fuck it and make an exception for him to play, like Justin Turner in the World Series. Like halfway through, they're like, yeah, he has it, and he was out there and playing and shit. I mean, fuck. What if this dude never has a chance to do that again? But why are the Bucs going to win? Because they got a dude named Tom Brady. And I remember our first podcast, I think you asked all of us if they were going to make the playoffs. I don't remember what I said. I hope I said yes. But having a guy like Tom Brady means you always have a chance. That lucky motherfucker. He's been in 9 Super Bowls. He's 6-3 in his Super Bowls, 95.6 passer rating, 65% completion rate, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. This will be his biggest test ever of all time in the Super Bowls to see if he's really the true GOAT amongst the rest. Because he's going up against the baby of the next upcoming GOAT, most likely in this league. My other point, their defense has been the hottest defense in the playoffs. They do look almost like the Rams defense, the way they've been playing. They beat Drew Brees and the Saints, and they took down Aaron Rodgers in that high-powered offense. They are going to give Mahomes a tough time. This is going to be the toughest defense he's going to face in his playoff career, I think, and right now. And if Tom loses, this is going to be the best team he's ever lost to. But he's not going to lose. Unless you think Eli Manning and Nick Foles are better than Mahomes. But, it's hard to argue against Tom Brady in his 10th Super Bowl. Who knows? Hopefully we don't see him ever again in the Super Bowl, but he's going to win it this year.
All right, Alex, why is Eric wrong and why are the Chiefs going to win?
Yeah, so I think this all comes down to I think it's going to be a shootout. You can only hold Mahomes for so long, and he looked great against a Bills defense that is very good. They're maybe not up to the level that the Bucs are, or at least the level the Bucs are playing right now, but that Bills team was a really good team, and Mahomes kind of walked all over him. Tom Brady definitely has the weapons to, if this is a shootout, for them to just be like a 45-40 game or something like that. I just think, with Mike Evans hurt, Chris Godwin has been, I would say, iffy. You mentioned it in the beginning part with his drops. I just think this Mahomes-led Chiefs team is just the complete team. Their defense might not be flashy, but they can hold Brady. If Brady throws a couple picks, they're going to have to score the Bucs a lot to keep up with the Chiefs, and I just don't trust Brady right now. I mean, he didn't play. You just said it. He hasn't played that well this postseason. I think Mahomes and the Chiefs have got this one.
Traden, why is Alex wrong and why are the Bucs going to win?
Yeah, so, I will agree that Tom Brady hasn't looked extravagant in the postseason, but there is something to be said about him being able to overcome wins and this team being able to overcome adversity. And I think that that's the thing that I take to heart the most. I look at it in sports, I look at it in life, being able to adapt to a certain set of circumstances and adversity is all that matters. And case in point, we saw this with the Saints. The Bucs were embarrassed in their 2 games in the regular season against the Saints, and they found a way to make the adjustments and win a game where it mattered the most. Who cares about those 2 losses? They won in that playoff game. And then let's look at the game against the Chiefs in the regular season. They did lose 27-24, after which they went undefeated, following that media bye week. But if you look at that specific game, the Chiefs were up 20-7 in the first half. Anybody who was anybody thought that the game was going to be over. It wasn't going to be close, that the Chiefs would just run away. But if you look at that second half, the Bucs adjusted quite quite well. I mean, and really gave the Chiefs a game to pucker a bit. They made the certain adjustments they needed to. They didn't even let the Chiefs score in the fourth quarter at all. And there was only one touchdown allowed in that second half, and they brought it to a 3-point game. I mean, that shows that the Chiefs can be exposed and can be beaten. Yes, I will say they did lose that game, but it's also a half a season, forward. It's an entire postseason forward. Tom Brady is someone that no one should be betting against at this point, because there's no reason that, if you are at this point, you haven't been watching what he's been able to do in the last, 20 some seasons. I will say this. We saw the Bucs D-line sack Aaron Rodgers 5 times for a loss of 32 yards last game, and limited the Packers to just 67 yards. That is the key to stopping the high octane offense here. Tyreek Hill cannot be covered. It's impossible. You cannot beat him. But what you can do is put immense pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and I think that's going to be the key to winning the game, as well as winning the ground game yourself, because I don't think that Tom Brady can go toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes. It just will not happen. So they have to go old school.
I like it. Question for you real fast. Who's going to have more receiving yards, Tyreek Hill or Mike Evans and Chris Godwin combined?
That's a tough one. That's a great question.
Be exactly equal.
Here's the thing. I've seen. I actually I would say the Bucs wide receivers in this, only because I think that if you put any type of coverage against Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes has the ability to find anybody he wants to and give him the ball. So I'm not, and then you have Travis Kelce. I have to give it to those two wide receivers because those are going to be the big linchpins for the offense on the Bucs side. But Patrick Mahomes can do whatever the fuck he wants.
I like it. Tyler, why is Traden wrong, and why are the Chiefs going to win?
All right. A lot of people are talking about this Bucs defense and how hot they've been. And yes, they've been very, very good. They took down 2 very good offensive teams in the Saints and the Packers. But this is even a better offense. The Kansas City Chiefs, probably one of the best well-run offenses in the league. And you got to look at, can the Bucs really sustain that level of turnover or getting turnovers on defense that they have? They have this whole week of rest, like 2 weeks since their last game. I don't know if they can still carry that momentum going forward. Kansas City had the 4th fewest turnovers in the league this season, and they've only had 1 turnover in their first 2 games in the postseason. So, and the only real reason the Bucs, I think, won both those games was because of how good their defense was at forcing turnovers, because they weren't winning by large margins. So if the Bucs don't have the turnovers in these games, like, I don't think the Bucs really have as good of a shot to win it. And I just don't see the Kansas City Chiefs giving up more than 1 turnover. I just think this offense is so well run. And yes, that the Buccaneers defense is playing very well. But for me, this Kansas City Chiefs team, man, it just offensively is so good, and defensively they're not, they're pretty solid as well. But I do think it's going to be a very high scoring affair. But I think when it comes down to it, the Kansas City Chiefs have just too many playmakers on offense that the Bucs just don't have.
Okay. So the last part of this, we'll go around the horn and see who the guys have winning and with what score, and also who they think the Super Bowl MVP will be. I'm going to go first. I'm going to go Kansas City Chiefs with 34, Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 27, and I think Travis Kelce will be the Super Bowl MVP. Alex, what do you think?
I'm going to go Chiefs 38, Bucs 30, and I was also going to pick Travis Kelce, so I'll pick Mahomes just to be different.
Okay. Eric?
I got Bucs 30, Chiefs 27. MVP is Mike Evans for the Bucs.
You were for sure going to say Brady. Trade.
Yeah, I'll say 31-27 Bucs. I mean, the GOAT's going to be the MVP, baby, once again.
And Tyler?
All right, 33-30 Chiefs. The MVP is Tyreek Hill.
All right. That wraps up my segment. Everybody tune in and watch the Super Bowl. That'll be a good one. Sunday, 3:15 p.m.
What
Pacific
channel? All
Time.
right.
That's a good question.
I think it's CBS this year.
Is it CBS? I don't know. We'll figure it
Who
out.
who is not gonna watch the Super Bowl? Like, do you think there's someone who's just like, I hate this and I'm not gonna watch it?
Probably.
Yeah, probably a lot
Oh,
of
probably.
Really? Damn.
Yeah,
I don't
dude.
watch football. But yeah,
People aren't
I'm-
like us then, I guess.
I'm definitely watching it. Should be a great game. That's what I'm hoping for. So let's hope for the best for it. And good luck to both of these teams. Should be a great one to watch. Thank you, James, for that great Super Bowl preview. We'll look forward to talking about it when it's all over next week.